Do you have any questions? Yeah.
Now, the first cap did not get a civil actions ribbon in spite of the fact we had a number of civil actions programs.
Yep.
You know how that works? Some political up the line?
I don't know. I know that our program got an awful lot of attention from the Vietnamese military, the headquarters, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah, ours did too, because I actually got a civil actions ribbon from from a South Vietnamese officer, and there was an Australian reporter. The first name was Kate, can't remember the last name right now, that came over and did an article about our village sick call program that we ran off of LZ English, and it was called More Than Big Guns. So I know we got some publicity too.
What year did you?
I was over the same time that you were. This would have been that we ran the sick call program that I was involved in. It would have been actually February of '67, and then I went out with the Delta Company 1st the 8th as their artillery FO in the beginning of November of '67.
I had a civic action project in Bong Son. Remember, Bong Son was right next to it,
right.
English, and the school out there needed some repairs, and so we did that as a up there.
Well, one of the things where we raised money was 2nd and 19th, paid for hiring one of the teachers at that school.
Huh. Yeah, there was the CAF didn't get too much credit. Before I finish, how many veterans do we have in the audience? Now, keep your hand up. Just keep your hand up, but put it down if you have not told your story. Written story is written. If you have not have not written your story. Now, the thing of it is, I'm going to talk about this in my next presentation, lest we forget. We've gotten over 300 stories from veterans that, and now that these are the first part here, World War II, and then there's Korea stories, and then there's Vietnam stories, and these were the casualties from Berrien County that were killed in Vietnam. But the thing of it is, your grandkids, your great-grandkids will never know what you did. And the wife sitting next to your husband, you're probably going to have to poke them and keep reminding them. But it's so important to write that story, because like I said, my dad was drafted for World War I, but there's no record of it. The internet is some of it, but the story needs to be told so that you can, your ancestors can hear about it. Yeah, there was one, let's see, there was something else I wanted to, I'm going to pass these pictures around. But anyway, so Sharon put together a one-page, all of the stories, those slides that you just saw were all in here, and here's a picture of a caribou that was actually shot down, but they lost their part of their wing and stuff, and they did not survive, obviously. But that was what the caribou looked like. So yeah, so I'll have to pass these out. Can we switch to the next?
It's switched right
there. Huh? Yes. Okay. So anyways, the wives, stay after your husband till he writes a story so that your kids. And neat thing about the internet is a couple months ago, I saw in the VFW magazine that the Caribou Pilots Association of Vietnam was having a reunion. So there was an email address in there. I sent the email to this individual, and within a half hour, I said, do you know of who might have been the pilot of a plane in January 8th that was shot down in Bong Son, LZ English? And within a half hour, I had a reply from the secretary of the Caribou Association saying, the pilot for that plane was Major Woods, and he later became lieutenant colonel, and he's retired now. But he's still living. He lives in Fort Worth, Texas. So I emailed, and he sent me his email address. So I emailed him, and he sent me an email back saying how he had a decision when the plane was hit whether to try to get to Ankh, which was about 40 miles away, 60, 70, 80 clicks, or return quickly to the airstrip that we just left from, and he made his decision to return. But so anyways, it's interesting how with the internet you can connect like that. So any questions about Lest We Forget? Yeah.
Just so you know, Dwayne Dewey, South Haven claims him. I'm not sure where he was born, but he grew up in Muskegon.
Yeah.
He went to the public schools in Muskegon. He was at Angel School, and I was there.
Oh.
And his sister graduated with me from Muskegon High School. So I think when he went in the Marine Corps, he went from Muskegon. He didn't finish high school. He quit school and joined the Marine Corps. So we can claim him as much as South Haven, and I think you got a Muskegon crowd, so I don't want to have that overlooked.
Well, but when he did get the medal, he lived in South Haven because while he was in Washington with his stuff, the citizens of South Haven built him a home. Yeah.
They deserve a lot of. He was a resident of South Haven, but he grew up in Muskegon. Now I don't know where he was born, but I know he went to a good part of his schooling was here in Muskegon.
Yeah.
He was a Muskegon resident when he went in the Marine Corps, so we can claim a part of his.
Have you seen him at all lately, or?
Pardon?
Have you seen him?
No, I saw Jean. I haven't gone to a class reunion lately, but I think I saw her at the last one. She was a year or two younger than he was. But and she still lives here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the info. Yeah.
We get a little bit of piece of Dwayne Dewey.
He goes to Florida for 6 months and lives in Baldwin for 6 months. Yep.
One other museum that people might be interested in is one in Frankenmuth.
Oh yeah, Stan Bozek. Yeah. Frankenmuth. Yeah. Yeah, I've been there, and that is nice. I'd heard that he was having health problems, but he's still apparently.
No, he's
Frank.
Frank is not head of the museum anymore. I don't know if he's even still alive.
Yeah, he is. 'Cause I talked to somebody the other day that knows him.
But he's not doing real well, I understand.
Yeah.
And there's another curator head of the museum.
Yeah, that at Frankenmuth there, it has a beautiful.
My father and my sister are both there.
Both in.
My father was World War II at a polar bear that fought for 6 months after the war, and my sister served 20 years as an air vac nurse from all the conflicts we've been in for the last 20 years.
So have those stories been written up?
As far as I know, they have, yes.
And are they recorded somewhere where your grandkids can?
When Stan opened the museum, they had booths for different veterans, polar bears.
Yeah.
It was originally for just polar bears, the men who fought for 6 months after the war, up in Russia, north of Russia.
Right.
And so they had booths. And my father had a booth there with much of his memorabilia. And the next booth to him, or one next to it, was a picture of an airplane that they'd shot down. But they couldn't identify it because somebody cut the numbers off the airplane. My father had the numbers. He'd cut them off.
Oh, that's a good story.
And my sister's there because she was an air vac nurse, and I think because she was my dad's daughter, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a museum.
Yeah. Moved from that great high school to a building of their own, and it's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder, have you contacted Richard Mullally in this area?
Who?
Richard.
He's over here. It's right here. Raise your hand. Is he here? Oh, yeah. No, we've been in contact by the phone for the last.
He knows all a lot about this.
Oh, hi. We're behind you. I see you.
Thank you. Sir,
Yeah,
All those reenactments, are they every year?
that's a good question. They have been, but
Did you want me to hold it?
right now what happened was this year we had to cancel the beach landing because there was no beach. 150 yards of sand was completely gone, and the water was right to the edge of the dune that goes up. So we canceled it in April. We canceled it in April. Last month I went down to see the beach, and about 75 yards is back, so we've rescheduled the landing for next year. The problem is that we're trying to find a date that the reenactors is compatible with them.
This museum, if they kept in touch with you, they could find out when it's going to be, like
Yeah,
next
oh, yeah,
year.
yeah.
Because that really fascinated me. I've been to some Civil War reenactments, and they're
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. So, where's Paula? We got to talk with her, I guess. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got two things. Now you brought up Dwayne Dewey.
Yeah.
I met him in May at his club named for him, and he told us all about the Medal of Honor, and then he was was walking all right and everything, and very lucid.
How long ago was that?
It was in May of this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Memorial Day weekend. And
Because he didn't come to our event, the word was passed that he was having some health problems.
Yeah, he may have had, we didn't know it, but he was clearly walking. It was a struggle to walk, but
Yeah.
he was talking real clear. And secondly, as we're all getting older, are there people, unless we forget, coming up, younger people to keep this going?
That's a good question. Yeah, there's no requirement unless we forget to be a veteran or in the military at all. The only requirement we have is that you like to do patriotic things, that patriotism is important. And we've got some of our best workers were never in the military, but unbelievable some of the work that they put in to put down and things. That these parades, restoring these vehicles, took a whole bunch of hours and a lot of time, and but we've met people that I never would have met before, and we've bonded, and it has really been a tremendous fellowship. We probably have 30 or 40 females, maybe more, and some of the females are some of our best workers as far as helping with everything that we've got going on. Yeah.
Are all of the wars reenacted, or just some
No.
of them?
Well, Korea, if you could give me a scenario to reenact Korea, we probably do it. They use the same World War II equipment in Korea, so we could do a Korean with the World War II uniforms, but we do. We had the Yeah, the consulate from Chicago comes over. We've got an individual in our community, Henry So, who, when the Americans advanced up to Chosin Reservoir, and when they came back, they brought a lot of North Koreans that did not want to stay in North Korea, and they brought a lot of North Koreans back with them. And this Henry So, his family was one of the ones that was brought back. He eventually came to the United States. He lives in Bering Springs, and he probably has taken 60 or 70 Korean vets back to Korea. I went with him because on the plane a couple of years ago, my son and I went, and neither one of us are Korean veterans. My son wasn't, but my son is an educator at the school that Henry teaches in, and I, because of doing Korean stuff, was invited to go along because there was an extra seat on the plane. But if you know of a Korean vet that would like to go back to Korea, he takes 6 or 7 back each year, and I think he's taken most of the ones back in our area. The other thing is, somebody was remarking, does anybody else in the room here have a cane like this? The Michigan wood carvers, and there's unbelievable, the wood carvers all over the state, a huge number, had a project, and they started out a few years ago doing World War II. But in the last couple of years, because they basically have got most of World War II done, at least the ones that wanted it, they've gone to Korea and Vietnam. And this is 31 years of military history, the decorations, the divisions that I was in. It's really, the eagle was carved by an individual in White Pigeon, and the cane was done by somebody over in Troy. But if you know you can just Google Michigan woodcarvers Muskegon, and I bet you'll find a woodcarver chapter. Anything else? This has been real enjoyable. I appreciate your attendance, your attention, and maybe we can do some things in the future.
All right. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it. On behalf of the USS Silversides, we'd like to present you with this sweatshirt.
Our group made a field trip up here about two years ago. We had, I think, 15. We had 14. We had a big, small bus, but it was tremendous. And we're talking about doing it again.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll be here. We're not going anywhere. Yes. Thank you, Don. And thank all of you for coming tonight.